Alright, my previous video, I for some reason doesn't have any sound. That other phone that I was using is one of my old phones and it's kind of jacked up. But anyways, yeah, I replied to this guy's comment and it never propagated, or he deleted it, something. But basically, I don't have time to wait. I've only got like 10 more years to go. I've already waited too long. I wish I'd known about this stuff sooner. That being said, I can start collecting from my IRA when I'm 59, which is in 9 years. And it's paying about 25%. And it's tax-free. So, ideally, I should be putting as much money as possible into that. However, I can only put like up to like $5 or $6 grand a year into it. And I would like to put in more. Unfortunately, I don't think I can really afford to put in more. So I've been doing my own side hustle because, I didn't know about this stuff before. I knew about stocks, yada, 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 blah, 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 but I didn't know anything about stocks. I just knew about stocks, and that's it. I didn't start doing an IRA until I was in my 30s, and I didn't even really know much about it then. And I screwed up and I cashed out my IRA to try to save my house, and then I ended up losing the house anyways after my divorce, after my ex basically had a secret affair. My life was a disaster after that. Which is why I'll probably never get married again. But anyway, so this is my formula, my basic formula, and I only invest when I get paid, right? So say it pays 5%, then I throw in $5. It pays another $5, if it pays monthly and it pays me my 5% dividend, every month. Well, every month I keep throwing in 5% or $5. And, because what's the point in investing in something that pays only 1% or 5%? If I was 16 or 20 and I was doing this, then it would make more sense. But, something that only pays 1%, it's going to take 100 years for you to get a return on your investment. That being said, the things that have a lower return tend to grow in cash value. Tend to grow in cash value, but that's not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. So I basically have 10 years to grow this alternate income, and right now, I've got my alternate income up to $145 a month. after tax. You know, I need to put a couple zeros on that. But, you know, I'm basically earning after tax about what my IRA is paying me tax-free. So I'm not doing that bad. I've actually made money in day trading. That's how I started out. But I didn't know dividends. If I'd have known about dividends a long time ago, I probably would have invested a long time ago. I just didn't know how this shit worked. You know, I'm 50 years old. I ain't got much more time to wait. I gotta learn now. You know, I gotta get my feet wet now. Yeah, I might lose a little bit of money, but I'd rather lose a little bit of money while I learn rather than miss out on this opportunity. So, you know, it's like, yeah, right now I am doing high dividend investments because what I'm trying to do is trying to invest in anything that pays more of a yield than the interest rate on my debt. Well, right now, my biggest interest rate on my debt is my credit cards. So my credit cards are 20 and 30%. So while I'm working on paying those down, I'm only investing in stuff that pays more than 20 or 30%. Once I get the credit cards paid down, then I'll start investing in stuff that pays more than 14% because that's the interest rate on my pickup truck. Then after that, I'll start investing in things that pay more than, 10% because that's, well, my highest interest rate right now on my mortgage is like 4%. But I'm working on getting another mortgage for this other property that I'm currently owner financing, and I don't know what it's going to be. So it's going to be anywhere from 5 to 10%. So that'll be my next level. Anything that pays more than 5 or 10%, whatever my interest rate is on my debt. I probably won't be investing in things that pay 1%. Or less than whatever the interest rate is on my mortgage, because what's the point? I've only got 10 more years to go. The things that pay 1%, yeah, I might get some cash value out of them, but it just all depends, you know. That being said, this is all stuff that I could will to my children, my grandchildren, nieces, nephews, things like that. So, I'm just going to stay behind this guy. He's only going 2 miles an hour slower than me. My truck will auto adjust. Anyway, it's going to take me forever to pass him. My truck's governed at 70. So, right now, I only have about $8,000 invested. A little bit more than that, actually. So, and that's not counting my IRA or my money market account. But, you know, I've had stuff that I invested in before and I ended up cashing them out when I shouldn't have because I didn't really know what I was doing. And I had to learn the hard way. You know, I knew a guy probably 20 years ago that was doing this, but I didn't really know much about it. I wish I would have picked his brain back then, but back then we didn't have apps to do it ourselves. We just had to rely on someone else. And like I said, if I would have known what I know now, hindsight 2020, blah blah blah, you know, things would be different. I'd probably be retired right now. But my parents didn't know diddly squat. They didn't pass down any education to us, you know. So my brother and I are having to learn the hard way. But if we don't do it now, we'll probably never learn. And so we're trying to learn it so we can pass it on to our kids and grandkids. Now, my kids, I may never speak to them again because they may never speak to me again because they're my ex and their families pretty much brainwashed them against me. But it is what it is. I mean, I tried. But they don't want anything to do with me. So if they come back into my life and if, you know, I have the opportunity, I will learn them what I can learn them. Otherwise, I'm going to pass all this on to my nieces and nephews. So, yeah. Anyway. That and I have land. So, they probably don't care about the land. And to be honest, the land probably isn't going to make me as much money as the dividends are. The only reason I'm doing the land is because I want healthy food. And so I'm raising my own livestock. I'm raising my own livestock that I can barter with for food, you know, healthy food. But anyway, starting to get congested, and I gotta stop and get fuel here in a couple of minutes. But anyhow, so basically what I do is I get I'm investing in anything that pays a dividend or more than the interest rate on my debt. And if it pays monthly, every time I get paid, then I reinvest. For example, we'll use we'll use this since I don't have to enter my password.
In half mile, take the first exit on the right onto 313.
I am doing some day trading. Tampon Tim was bragging about Tesla stock being down, so I went and bought some Tesla stock, and now my Tesla stock is up. So I'm making money thanks to Tim. But anyway, so
take the first exit on the right onto 313.
All 5 of these just paid me a dividend. So I'm going to look them up and reinvest the percentage in which they paid me. For example, Blooming Brands. Blooming Brands. Hang on. Trying to catch this light. It just turned yellow as I was going through it. Now this stock I can probably buy with Robinhood, so I'm transferring it over. But right now I'm kind of using it as a day trade and a dividend investment. So it's down right now.
Your destination is on the left.
It may or may not go back up. paying like over 10%. So I would look at this. It's over 10.5, so I'll round it up to 11, and that's what I'll invest. $11. Waiting in line for fuel. What's this guy doing? He acts like he's gonna pull forward, but I don't know what he's doing. Okay, anyway. What the hell is this guy doing? Okay, I'll get behind this guy. Now I lost my train of thought. But anyway. See what Tesla's doing. So far, I've made almost $8 on Tesla. Not bad. Thank you, Tampon Tim. Democrats are good for something, I guess. So Tim Waltz made me some money. On duty fuel. I lost my train of thought. But anyways, once I'm making a little bit more money, then I'll start looking into more reliable investments. And that's why I'm following some of these YouTubers who are more experienced than me, like this guy. And I'm making notes as to what they're investing in and comparing notes between different guys that I'm following. And then the ones that they're all basically endorsing are the ones that I'm going to consider, you know, a solid investment, and I'm going to treat them like a REIT or an ETF. REITs are a little more risky than ETFs, but ETFs are generally pretty safe. Especially like the S&P 500. But S&P 500. But which S&P 500 do you invest in? There's like a dozen or more there. So, yeah. I'd probably say invest in all of them. But like VOO, that's a popular one. It's only paying 1%. It's going to take me 100 years to see a return on my investment. That's something I would want to probably will to my children. You know, create generational wealth. What's the next one? Well, there's several here, but That one's paying almost 4.5%. So, you know, that's why I'm investing in everything. And then when I got my top, you know, and my top favorites, then I'll put more into those as I go. So anyways, that's it. I'll talk to you later.